All right, welcome everybody. We are live once again for the Overwatch PIT Championships. I'm your boy James Jamerson Lee, and joining me once again, it is going to be Herix. Herix, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. Going on to Group B. I got the privilege of starting Group A, and now the privilege of starting Group B as well with some fantastic teams in this one as well. And I'm really excited to see what we have on the table from these 6 teams here now into Group B.
Yeah, so we've already had 4 teams actually qualify into the playoffs for the EU side of this tournament. Remember, it is broken down to EU and NA, both with the $15,000 prize pool, and only the top 4 from each region actually placing into the money. But let's go ahead and talk about Group A real quickly while we get the next match underway. So Group A going largely the way most people expected, but what were some of the things that you would like to talk about from Group A?
Well, I mean, like you said, I think Ninjas of Pajamas as well as E United. I think for the most part here, it is expected. I think the big standout was I guess you can call them the partition, Vivi's Adventure, that have kind of divided those 2 monsters of Group A from everybody else. And I guess more importantly, Laser Kittens, who I think a lot of people we're kind of looking to make a splash in their debut as a new roster and under a new organization. Very solid performances on Oasis, but outside of that, pretty inconsistent, especially on Eichenwald, a map that was heavily contested in their pool, and we saw it a lot. But ultimately, I don't think there's any big surprises here. Maybe Gamers Origin probably should have been able to take a spot there, but Vivi's Adventure just played far too well throughout the open qualifier as well as the start there of that second group. But looking into Group B, which is the new group that we're now focusing on here, of course, we got Dignitas and Movistar Riders starting things off here in this first matchup, but we still have Misfits as well as Hammers Esports in here, and then more than likely, I kind of expect Singularity and Alternate Attacks to probably bow out in those lower 2 slots, but we'll have to see. I mean, we've already seen some crazy stuff in Group A. Maybe that's going to happen in Group B as well. Not sure.
Yeah, for some of you guys wondering, LDLC did have to pull out of the tournament, so that's why we have Team Singularity Ninjas actually in here. They played a match off stream to actually make it into the round of 6 here in group number B. So let's go ahead and do a quick breakdown of the matches that we have in store for our viewers today. So we do have, first up, it's going to be Team Dignitas facing off against Movistar Riders. Our second match of the day, it is going to be Misfits versus the Singularity Ninjas. And then, of course, Hammer Esports facing off against X Attack to round out the day. So these matches, what should we expect coming out from the teams, Urix?
I definitely think that going into this first match, which is, of course, Team Dignitas versus Movistar Riders, I very much anticipate Dignitas to be able to close this one out. And I do think that that is what we're going to be seeing here, especially going into Nepal, where I think they're going to be able to dominate. And we'll have to see if that's going to be the case, as we're already jumping into the first map, which is really nice. I mean, absolutely no time down here. I love that. I love that about this. But we are going to be seeing this start things off. I pretty much kind of expect, for the most part, both teams to run mostly a dive comp. I think Movistar Riders is one of those teams that, looking back on some of their other tournaments, they typically run dive on a control point, but in a lot of cases, Finzi has shown that he is flexible going over to these off-tank roles, especially Zarya and D.Va, and this is still a strong team. We definitely can't count them out. I mean, really, the only losses that they've had in recent history are Alternate Attacks, interestingly enough, who are in the group with them, but then also X-Cyclone, who didn't even make it to the tournament this time, surprisingly enough, given their performances as of late. But still, Dignitas is going to be a very, very hard team to try to contest, and I think they're going to be able to close this one out.
Yeah, and so we are going to be starting off here on Nepal, like you had mentioned. It's going to be on the village stage first, and both teams are already hovering over their picks. And it looks like on the side of Team Dignitas, they are going to be going for that dive-heavy composition with Toxicin, busting out that far. It's actually going to be a mirrored composition coming out from both teams as they do meet on the high ground. Kosti's going to be the first one to jump in as that Winston right now, forcing back the majority of Team Dignitas. That's going to allow Swoosh to come in, get that kill onto 7. Already 2 kills going over in favor of the red team there, as Kosti once again on that Winston, just putting in so much work. Veinless will go down, and now this pharmacy comp not going to pay off for Team Dignitas. And so, man, what a decisive team fight.
And Logic's coming up with a lot of that as well, as he was able to generate a lot of that damage for Movistar Riders, and them getting that first point control is certainly big for them, because as we know statistically, it definitely favors them now going into the rest of this. But Vaneless getting picked off by Logic, that's a huge pick for them to start things off.
Yeah, that's really going to put a damper on their push coming out from Team Dignitas. But Toxic does trade right on back, and that's going to signal the attack coming out from Team Dignitas. Linkster jumping in. He gets a double kill. Logix tries to answer on back, but now the fight is on point. Pulse1 comes out. Double kill for Logix. This man on Tracer has been an absolute beast, cleaning up the rest of Team Dignitas now.
He still has to deal with Logix here, should be able to find that kill, and Vaneless has been basically put on notice here, as he's been eliminated very quickly throughout this so far. And despite that, we will see Movistar Riders holding on. It was flipped in the middle of that fight though, so 12% then did wind up going to Team Dignitas, as they were able to get control initially. But Logix right now has been putting in a lot of work to try to shut down Vaneless here, and has been doing a good job of doing just that so far.
Yeah, Bromos is on the point, so he might actually be able to flip it over before this next team fight breaks out. Only Lucio on the point to try and contest it right now, as White 7 dropping really low along with Toxic. It's going to be Bromos going down first. Now we do have the res coming out from Vaneless there, but it's already still a 5v5 team fight as they are continuing to push forward. The point no longer in contention. Pulse1 does come out, and it's going to be the tactical visor for Finzi. Is going to be able to connect. He lands one onto What 7, taking him up. But once again, these tracers from both sides doing so much work, as we do have the kills getting traded in. Toxic actually kills himself though, and so now while the point was flipped, it's still going quickly back in favor of Movistar Riders.
They should be able to get this, but What 7 is going to be able to jump in just at the last second and hold on to this for his team. And he does have that Primal Rage available. He will be able to pop that just to kind of contest this a little bit longer, allow them to generate a little bit more score here, and maybe allow the rest of his team to try to get in there with some ultimates, as well as Linkster just jumping in, trying to take out the Mercy, but he is getting contested in the air by this Ferris. Swoosh going to be able to take that kill. And this is already looking pretty solid for Movistar Riders to perhaps start their way down the road of a potential upset against Dignitas here in this first map, at least.
The score of this map really doesn't tell the story of it, because it hasn't been a team fight win that's allowed Team Dignitas actually to get this 38% on the board so far. 96 ticking up. They have to get on to the point right now. 98, 99. They do get What 7 on there, but Toxic coming in gets the kill onto Swoosh, and now it looks like they're finally going to be able to cement an offense here, as they do get the 5 kills and finally a decisive team fight win.
They do, I mean, these do still have some decent score on the board, but they don't really have a lot to work with here into this next fight. Both Mercies do have that Resurrect available, so we're more than likely to see at least one of those come out. But certainly, you know, if you're Dignitas, you want to be able to get Vaneless in a position where he's not forced to use that early. You can use it second as a momentum shifter to try to get back into the fight if you do lose control a little bit kind of midway through.
Yeah, Primal Rage does come out from Colsey right now as he tries to jump onto Bromos. It's going to be Neptuno that gets the kill onto What 7 though on the side of Movistar Rider. Once again, Logic's coming in for his team as he is able to get that kill onto Bromos. Vaneless does have to use that Resurrect, but at this point, teamfight looking really good for Movistar Rider. But as I say that, Toxin gets the kill onto Colsey. That finds a second one direct onto Neptuno there. And so now it looks like Team Dignitas might be able to hold on to it, but no. Logix and Finzi have a different idea in mind, as Dante is able to get in to start helping out his team. Tactical Visor popped by Finzi here as the Resurrection does come out from Movistar Riders, and now Finzi with that Tact Visor will be able to clean up Evoke, and it looks like Movistar Riders should be able to secure Village here.
Dignitas with a pretty solid attempt at trying to come back in the latter stages of that map, but I mean, still gave up a little bit too much initially, and a lot could be said about what those picks meant for Movistar Riders, especially coming out from Logic, who was able to find Vaneless, I think, twice in the beginning stages of the map. And honestly, I think that was a huge reason why they were able to just start off with such a commanding lead, despite Dignitas taking advantage of, you know, just being pretty consistent on control point and just knowing when to jump on the point, try to take advantage of, you know, some free percentage that was given with Bromos jumping on. But obviously some things are going to have to change from Dignitas here if they want to be able to clinch this in the fashion that I think a lot of people at least originally anticipated that they would.
All right, so now Toxicans are going to be on that 76 on the side of Team Dignitas. No longer are we going to have Mercies on the field. On the side of Team Dignitas, Baneless picking up that Ana, who immediately goes down to Finzi with that headshot. And so we have WhatsApp immediately jumping forward with that Winston, trying to force them back, but it's going to be Colsey that actually gets the traded kill. And wow, 2 for 2 already on the point, but still we are going to have Baneless coming in with the respawn a little bit early on. Linkster gets the kill onto Dante, but it's going to be Neptuna that comes in and immediately trades that right on back. Right now, it looks like Movistar Riders do have a favorable position as Neptuna once again coming in with the kill onto Toxic, and there we go. Finzi with the Helix Rocket is able to take out Bromos there. Now man advantage in favor of Movistar Rider once again in the onset of this matchup, and immediately going to push forward to try to catch out any stragglers, and they will take control of the point.
A big thing here to note is that the matchup between Ana and Zenyatta is very, very, I guess, integral here in this particular set, because the thing with the Zenyatta is that it is diveable by guys like Bromas and Linkster, but with that Discord, they are going to be able to generate, the rest of the team is going to be able to generate a lot more ult charge quicker because they do have the extra damage that is going to come out from it. And now it is kind of looking as though they are kind of in a situation where they can maybe take advantage, but it really didn't create all that much of a difference initially here.
Yeah, the dive's coming out on the side of Team Dignitas, but immediately it's going to be Dante taking out Wet7, Swoosh, getting the resets. We'll already pick up a double kill. That's a 4-for-1 trade as Colsey is going to take out Evoke. And now once again, Movistar Riders with a huge team fight win.
We'll see them holding on yet again, and Movistar Riders actually really looking incredibly strong here on this control point. And you have to wonder what's going on with Dignitas, who have been, at least in the EU scene, pretty consistent. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen too many tournaments come out of this particular region as of late, but still, I mean, you would kind of expect Dignitas to be a little bit ahead in this particular matchup. Swoosh actually going to be jumping in with the Dragon Blade, looking for some initial picks, is going to find 2.
Yeah, but Links are immediately shut down by Finzi's tactical visor. Wow, Swoosh is going to actually be the better Genji at this point. And yeah, Team Dignitas going for a quick reset after they were immediately shut down there. They committed so many ultis for that. And taking a look at the side of Movistar Riders, they still have their Transcendence along with the Primal Rage to work for this next team fight, which might be the last.
We're seeing Dante coming back over from Respawn, both supports here who were the only ones to die out. And really it comes down to this last fight to be able to see if Dignitas is going to be able to come back with anything. Baneless already being taken down pretty low, and the Transcendence is ready, as you said, from Dante, and definitely looking for an opportunity to pull that one out, as they've already found 2 kills here and are looking to close this one out.
Yeah, close this one out indeed, as 4 members are already down on the side of Team Dignitas, with Kosa getting that kill onto Wat7, and they're going to be able to cement this in a much more dominant fashion, 100% to 0, as they take the second point here on Nepal.
I mean, obviously it is a little bit, I would say, a little bit of an upset to see Dignitas losing to Movistar Riders, but the way that it's happening is what is appalling, I think. It's, you know, to have them dropping some maps is, you know, maybe to be expected. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think, but the way that they're losing these 100 to 0, and then also being kind of dominated in the first map as well, I think it's fair to say that they were dominated on the first map as well. This is now 2 maps in a row where really, I mean, Dignitas hasn't looked like the team that we've seen in recent memory, at least. I mean, certainly Movistar Riders has stepped up, but I think we're going to have to see some huge changes from Dignitas, particularly, I mean, to be able to find those kills on the front line if they want to be able to basically come back in this one. They're going to be looking at a reverse sweep just to hold on to this map.
Yeah, both teams really opting for a much heavier tank composition as we move on to Sanctum. Both teams meeting up on the high ground ledge. Reinhardt's will charge into each other. It's going to be Bailey's that with the biotic immunity that gets the kill onto Kolsti, as Watsam does fall to that Roadhog on the side of Movistar Riders. Toxicin, though, will take out his counterpart. Now the man advantage in favor of Team Dignitas for possibly the first time there is. Swoosh immediately trades it right on back, and once again, as soon as they get the advantage, though, Movistar Riders are able to rally on back, as now the point has unlocked. The charge does come out, and Kolsti lands it onto Toxicin, taking him out immediately. And so they're going to push forward with this Reinhardt. He's swinging them freely on him, as he does have that projected barrier, and he continues to press the issue as he takes out Evoke.
And this has been such a bloody battle that coming away from this one, I mean, both teams pretty charged up, but look at Movistar Riders already with 3 fully charged ultimates. Benzi and Toxican pretty close there, I would say, in the Graviton Surge battle, and of course that is going to be important into this particular map, I would say. But I don't know, I mean, there's just so many options here if you're Movistar Riders to be able to hold this one out, and you're definitely looking to try to get your Lucio up there as well, and Evokia definitely holding that one down a little bit for his team.
Yeah, we did have the Earthshatter coming out front on the side of Movistar Riders there. It only connects onto one, but that's going to allow Neptuno to actually get the kill onto what's up now. Linkster with the whole hog. He's got the nano boost. They're going to push forward. Speed was coming out too, but immediately they're just going to go ahead and back away. Linkster picking up 3 kills off of that. Now we do have the tactical visor, nano visor coming out, but Linkster immediately shuts that down. So the hog paying off for them so far. They should be able to take control of this point.
We are going to be seeing that flip finally happen here, but not before we see Movistar Riders actually clinching out 54% on the board. And we will see as well them pulling back here, looking for some opportunities, and interesting enough, they really did utilize a lot, and they didn't even pull that one out. We do see the Graviton coming out.
Surge, it lands onto 4. Are they going to have to follow up damage? Huge buyout. Nate comes in. That's going to be 2 quick kills going on over in favor of Team Dignitas, and this is where they need to start the reverse sweep on the map, and they are looking to do it in good fashion.
And we will see as well, Linkster just kind of contesting this one a little bit. Dante trying to take a kill here with the rest of his team coming off a respawn, but they're not going to find anything, it looks like, as Lucio gets slept there as well, but he's going to be safe. And now we do see as well Dignitas trying to make a comeback here and looking for that foothold. Have a couple of options here, looking of course at what's 7 at the moment. He needs to find a really big Earthshatter for this team. Definitely looking for Evokia to try to get a little bit of a speed boost for him to get in position quickly. His barrier is down though, and he's still going to be throwing that one out, and he doesn't find anybody with it.
Yeah, Swoosh doing a really great job of disengaging, but what's Evan now in the back line? He does have that nano boost right now, but he immediately gets focused down by the entirety of Movistar Riders. That's going to be Logic's taking him out, and they continue to press forward now to take the adventure back. Swoosh getting a great hook onto Linkster will immediately take him out, so now it is a 6v3, and immediately Team Dignitas have to reset. They cannot dilly-dally.
We have to remember, I mean, they were kind of pulled ahead now, but they do have that Graviton available. Fenzi, with this aggression from the entire team, is going to be able to get his up as well, and because they actually just killed out Toxican, they're going to be at a distinct advantage going into this next fight, because when the Graviton does come out from Movistar, which more than likely will come out right in this next fight here, he's going to still be at a pretty decent energy set, more than likely around 40, for him to be able to just go ahead and put those 2 last barriers up and get himself back up to 100, and then they're going to be at a distinct advantage again, like I said, with that Graviton.
Graviton Surge comes out with the follow-up whole hog. We do see the Earthshatter committed on the side of Movistar Riders, but already it's a 4-for-1 trade as Linkster once again coming in with the kill onto Dante. And that all started off with Linkster actually pushing him from the outside ledge there, and they set that up beautifully.
And now Fenzi, with that hold of the Graviton, is going to be able to combo with Swoosh's whole hog more than likely, just to kind of blast into that grouping. If they can manage to get a good one, then they should be able to shut down the ultimate set that is going to come out from Bromos and Vanless, and it's really going to come down to what 7 to try to shut down the damage pressure that's going to come out, and he's definitely in a position to do just that. Barry getting kind of low though, he's looking for an opportunity to Earthshatter, he gets it!
Oh, Graviton Surge did come out, but right now everything looking great for Team Dignitas as they get the initial kill onto Kosti, and now Bromos pushing forward with that nano visor does get hooked, but damage has already been done as he's got 3 kills off of that. Evoke will find a double of his own, and finally, Team Dignitas are able to mount a great offensive here on the 3rd point, so they're keeping this map alive.
We will see them just setting up, trying to get that reverse sweep going, and like I said, I mean, those first 2 maps definitely looking very much in favor of Movistar Riders. They just looked so dominant on that set, and now Dignitas coming with 3 tank strat just showed that they're a little bit better in that department, and Bromus definitely stepping up in terms of that soldier play as well. But now they're going to have to switch things up, and it looks like they're going to be going with a 2-2-2 strat here up against the dive composition, the high dive I guess you could call it, with Swoosh going back over to the fair that we saw originally on this first map that came out here on Nepal.
All right, so yeah, we are once again coming back to Village here as it looks like we are gonna just go ahead and have mirrored compositions. Actually, no, we have the Pharaoh on the side of Movistar Riders with Soldier 76 on the side of Team Dignitas here. So no pharmacy from them, and it's gonna be Finzi once again opening up with that frag onto What 7, and things immediately looking in favor of Movistar Riders as Toxican is just gonna go ahead and accept his fate there, go down to that Pharaoh, and Logix and Finzi will go ahead and clean up the rest of the team fight. So basically the story of point 1 just repeated here once again in point number 4.
And Movistar Riders have been incredibly consistent at getting that first point very quickly, and that of course gives them a very, very strong advantage and an early lead going into the map that certainly has helped them get into the position where they are now, being up a map here on Nepal up against, I mean, honestly, probably a titan of Group B in Dignitas.
Oh, What 7 and Lynx are jumping immediately onto Logix there. We'll go ahead and get that kill, but Finzi immediately trades on back with that soldier, and he's been putting in so much work with that soldier so far. Finally, Toxican has switched off to that Diva, and that has paid off for them as he is able to get the kill onto Dante now. They're onto the point. 33% on the board for Movistar Riders before it finally gets flipped on over for Team Dignitas.
The Toxican's out of mech here, and we did see some good plays there from Swoosh just to try to keep Dante alive. We saw him just kind of avoiding Toxican so that Dante could get that quick little jump over to him, but he did hold on to that barrage there. They don't have really anything to set it up, so we're going to be seeing just kind of like some freehand throws like we did in the first map, and already Attack Visor coming out here.
But the barrage does come out, and it's going to be Swoosh that comes up with the double kill. Logix, though, once again on that Tracer, won't be outdone. Finds a double of his own as they push forward. Bromos is the only one that's able to answer right on back, taking out Kolsti. But at this point, it looks like Movistar Riders will immediately take this point on back.
And again, we still see Dante with that Resurrect available. And now things are tied up, but certainly, obviously, with Movistar Riders getting control of the point, they are going to be pulling away pretty slowly here. But nonetheless, I mean, with that kind of just sitting in their pocket, that Resurrect, that's going to be big for them to be able to just turn the tides a little bit as the ults start to stack up here, especially the support ult stacking up here for Dignitas as they're looking to approach for that third time.
Yeah, Lynxer, Dante, excuse me, Lynxer jumping onto the back line, but it's going to be Evoke that gets the first kill. Lynxer finally taking out Neptuno, but immediately the Resurrect does come out. Sound barrier popped on the side of Team Dignitas as Kolsti does find the kill onto Valence. Bromas trying to keep this team fight alive by finding the pick onto Neptuno there, though. Now they continue to push forward. Toxican is going to be forced out of his mech as Swoosh will be able to follow up on that, de-meching and taking him out at the same time. Bromas does take out Dante, and once again, these Tracers are huge for both of their teams as he does get that second kill. Now we do have the Primal Rage, the Kaiju battles on the point, but it's going to be Team Dignitas' Kaiju that actually wins in that engagement.
And we will see Dignitas catching up and looking at how they're able to just get control of the point. Like, just kind of really good positional awareness there from Dignitas and maybe a little bit of mistakes there coming out from Movistar Riders. But they're already engaging quickly off of the respawn here, and we do see it tying up in the score right now. So this is going to be a big fight to see who's going to be able to pull out with the lead. And already it looks like Dignitas is going to be the victors.
Yeah, so it all started with that sound barrier along, with that Dragon Blade forcing them back. So with 3 kills, Movistar will go ahead and just fall back and wait for the respawns to come in. And it looks like they are going to go ahead and try to push the high ground with a few members while all the flankers try to approach from main here. But right now, Team Dignitas still on the high ground will be actually forced off as Kolsti jumps on in. He's onto Evoke right now. We have to attack the Visor coming out on the side of Movistar Rider, but it's going to be Lynxer that gets the kill onto Logix. We even got the self-destruct coming in to be able to finish off that kill onto Kolsti. Now things looking largely in favor of Team Dignitas as they are cleaning this team fight up. 99% on the board. We are into overtime. It looks like Team Dignitas just might be able to tie this map up.
We were talking before about how, I mean, we'd never use the word, but I guess the feeling was kind of just a little bit of an air of disappointment here from Dignitas. But now they've kind of mounted a little bit of a comeback for themselves, sitting 2-2. It's tied up now, and moving into this final 5th map to determine who's going to be the winner. And it is the map that they actually kind of turned things around on here on Sanctum. And they did very well the last time when they were able to utilize a 3-tank composition. We'll have to see if Lynxer wants to make that swap. He is going to make that swap over to this the same composition that we saw them utilizing the first time that they were able to turn things around on. And now, honestly, it looks as though Dignitas are in a pretty good position to actually pull this off, this full reverse sweep here on Nepal.
Yeah, Linkser was a huge contributing factor when we did get onto the Sanctum for the first point. That Roadhog making big plays, as we do have basically mirrored compositions coming out from both teams right now, and they are just gonna go ahead and meet on the ledge here. And last time we saw the Reinhardts actually charge right into each other. Let's see if they try and repeat that performance. Yep, there we go. It starts off once again with the charges coming out, but it is gonna be the trade 1-for-1 as both Reinhardts go down. But Logic's finding that Helix rocket along with Swoosh, taking out Toxic in there. This time it is going to be Movistar Riders getting the initial team fight.
Ooh, and they're getting aggressive too, going to be able to find that kill on Bromas, just that extra little bit of charge that they kind of wanted. And again, Movistar Riders just, I want to reiterate, just the consistency on these first team fights, really kind of setting the pace for them, and it's put Dignitas in a really bad position in every single one of these maps where they have to fight to come back every single time.
All right, so now they are pushing forward. Charge comes out on the side of Movistar Riders. Colsey wasn't able to connect with that WhatsApp and try to answer right on back, but he missed his too as he gets to be able to push forward and swing with that hammer. Great hook comes in, but no follow-up quite yet. It's going to be Finzi that gets the kill onto Linkser, and here's the Graviton just onto Toxican, but this team fight looking largely secured for Movistar Riders as they're going to be able to pick up a few more stragglers here, pushing into the spawn. Not quite yet. There we go. Swoosh gets the kill onto Bromas.
They're going to be able to get back into their position, and look what they've committed. Really, it's only been a Graviton surge so far, and now they're sitting at about 50%. There's going to be a lot that Dignitas has to do to be able to pull this one out, especially if Logix actually finds some spacing for himself with this Nano Visor that's more than likely to come out in this next fight here, and definitely look for Colsey to try to make the most of this Earth Shatter as well.
Yeah, Watt7 trying to find one of his own too, but that fire strike immediately onto Bromas. At this point, Dignitas might just want to pull out as Watt7 is the only person on the front line right here. We do have a huge Earth Shatter coming out, lands onto 2, but no follow-up because the rest of the members were trying to focus down Watt7. Then now Graviton Surge does come out for Team Dignitas, but Whole Hog will be able to disengage. The Linkster finds 2 off of it. Soundberry getting popped by both teams, but right now it looks like it's largely in favor of Movistar Riders as we do have the Tactical Visor along with that Graviton Surge. Vital Nade lands onto 3, and that's going to allow them to get the follow-up damage. We've got the Tactical Visor pushing forward with Logix. Logix finds the kills onto Valence, and now it's all down to Watt7 here. 91% on the board, and that might have been their last opportunity to try and contest the point.
That was really it. I mean, such a great turnaround, especially from this guy Logix here, who really found a lot of damage in that Graviton Surge to shut down that Soldier and Bromas, who was going with that Nanovisor himself, and then able to follow up and just push that one. I mean, they gave nothing away in that entire map there to be able to close this one out 3-2, and now Movistar Riders with a little bit of an advantage going into this series. And honestly, I mean, certainly we saw some good performances from the whole team in general, but that last map, Logix definitely performing. I mean, that was basically like the map of his life, I think, to be able to shut all of that down with the rest of the squad. And then, of course, we did see Finzi with 2 Graviton Surges that just had pretty good value, I would say. Maybe not the first one as much, but certainly the second to be able to, like I said, close that map out.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to compare DPS here, Logix on that Tracer was doing so much work earlier on the different maps on Village, along with Shrine there. I believe for the most part, his pole spawns were coming up about 20-30% quicker than the opposing Tracer every single time. At one point, he had his second before, I forget who was playing Tracer, but he had his second before his opponent could actually have his first. It was insane how much work Logix was putting in there on Nepal.
Yeah, that.
So at this, oh yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I definitely agree. I just wanted to just jump in there. I mean, Logix for sure. I mean, and then you look at the other side of things as well with the Pharah. I mean, Swoosh definitely performing pretty well early on. I mean, we saw, I think it was Toxican who was on the other Pharah for Dignitas, able to find a couple of, you know, mid-air kills, mid-air rockets as well that we kind of expect from Dignitas. But I think Movistar Riders, the story here for these guys is that in the matchup, they actually aren't far behind at all, and really they are looking fantastic in terms of how they go up against this team in Dignitas.
All right, and so this is going to be a best of 3, and it will be Dignitas's pick. We are going to Hollywood for our second map. So Movistar Rider currently leading the series 1-0, and surprising that Dignitas actually, they get the map and the side pick, and they decide to take this to Hollywood, and they're going to be starting off on the defense here.
So We will more than likely see them with the 3-tank strat, as Dignitas has been known to pull this out in the past. So I kind of expect them to stick with this. Meanwhile, I do also expect the dive to come out from Movistar Riders, more than likely, at least. We will see Swoosh kind of just sitting on the Genji at the moment, kind of anticipate that this isn't actually going to be the case. But we'll have to see how this 3-tank strat is going to actually match up against the dive, because of course, I mean, it's pretty tough, especially when you're giving a lot of ult charge on that Roadhog, and particularly, I mean, the Reinhardt can give a lot as well, but it's really going to come down to Linkser. If he's going to be able to find those picks and kind of create those 6v5 situations, then they're going to be in a good position. But if he's missing those hooks, I mean, that's what it really comes down to. Is the Roadhog going to be able to make the hooks or not? That's honestly what it's going to come down to with this particular matchup.
Yeah, even though in the conclusion of that Nepal map, Linkser initially on a Roadhog was putting in a lot of work, was finding crucial picks. As like you said, we are getting that triple tank setup coming out from the defense. Bromas will be on the Soldier 76 to round out the damage. But on the side of the offense right now, it looks like we might have the final commits on to the composition for Movistar Riders. We've got that triple dive setup, Genji, Tracer along with Kolsti on the Winston. They're going to round out the damage with the Soldier 76 as they are actually approaching into the back alley right now. It's going to be Kolsti taking control of the high ground. No one quite there to contest him. Possibly Bayless and Bromas from the other end over at Cafe as they are pushing forward. Now they are taking their time. There we go. Kolsti immediately jumps in, but it's going to be Linkser that gets the first kill onto Dante. But trading right on back, that support for support as once again, Linkser going largely unanswered here. Finally does fall, but damage done as Toxican comes in with a double for himself, and that's going to force back Movistar Riders.
Again, a lot on the shoulders of Linkser, and he definitely stepped up to the plate when he was able to get that hook onto Dante and shut out one of their primary supports there. Of course, that Discord is huge for Movistar Riders to be able to find those instant picks there, especially with Swoosh, as well as, you know, Logix, of course. But we are seeing them jump in deep already. What's 7 going to be able to find that kill alongside Linkser? And again, they're just setting themselves up with a nice little 65 as they're re-entering the point.
Yeah, we do have the pulse bomb coming out from Logix, and once again, he is coming up with that Tracer so far. That's a triple kill for him as he is able to clean up onto Toxican, and immediately Logix with the 4K, with the 5K. Will he be able to get the ace onto the team?
Oh, so he's actually going to come in, and he's going to actually find that last kill. And I mean, he and Finzi are both pretty close to being able to have their ultimates. But look at Logix, actually, who was able to utilize that pulse bomb to give them a little bit of a swing there, find 2 kills with it, and then also generate it back up to 64%. So he should be able to have it pretty soon as well. And that's going to be big to try to shut down Linkser, who, again, if this guy lands hooks, then they're going to be fighting from behind a lot. So being able to shut him down with stuff like pulse bombs, especially if you can get it close to someone like What7 as well, that'll be big for them.
Yeah, we do have the Dragon Blade coming out on the side of Movistar Riders, and immediately that's going to allow Swoosh to get the kill onto Vanillish. He did not get the resets that he was quite looking for, but Finzi did get the follow-up kill. Now they are continuing to push forward. We do have the Primal Rage, and Logix once again lands a nice pulse bomb into Linkser, taking him out, and so that's going to allow Movistar Riders to actually push forward this payload a great distance before Team Dignitas come back to try and contest.
Curious to see what they do with their advantage here that they could take with the positioning. Dante going to be going up top alongside Finzi up here. And we are going to be seeing the Transcendence ready as well for this next fight. So Dante more than likely to drop down once they do start, you know, kind of duking it out a little bit. And I think I also want to mention What7 just actually switching over to the Winston right here to try to contest this high ground a little bit. So they've given up the Reinhardt completely.
Yeah, sound barriers coming out from both sides, and we got a Graviton Surge, but it only lands onto Neptuno there. What7 was able to pick up the kill, but with 2 more going on over in favor of Team Dignitas, they might have just shut down the offense right here.
And Finzi just going to take his exit, not give up any ult charge as Dante actually gets taken out there by Vaneless, and I believe we also saw Linkser involved in that kill a little bit as well, but now they're going to be able to re-engage here. Across the board, I mean, certainly you want to be able to use Transcendence here in this next fight to be able to push this one, give yourself a little bit of an advantage as, you know, Neptuno's ultimate got shut down a little bit on the sound barrier. They were still just taken out pretty quickly there. Bromas actually forced a recall there and pulled back a little bit as we do see Movistar just approaching very, very aggressively here.
Oh, Colsey getting focused down there as we do have the Transcendence along with the Dragon Blade pop. That's going to allow them to push forward, get 2 kills. That's going to be Logic with the double, make that a triple. And once again, this Tracer putting in so much work. And with the pretty one team fight, Team Dignitas might have an opportunity to try and contest this one last point before they get the first checkpoint.
I think they're going to go for it. I mean, they have the opportunity of people coming off of respawn. It looks like What7 is making the move. They don't have a lot of time to work with, so they're not going to have great positioning going into this one. But Bromos already with the pulse bomb to start things off.
Yeah, they also commit the whole hog to that, try and force back anybody as Swoosh with this Genji along with Logix onto the back line. Evoke has to be careful here. He does make his way into the cafe, but now the backline divers are starting to get focused down as What7 was able to get that kill onto Swoosh. Sound Barrier is going to get popped by Team Dignitas just to secure this team fight as they push forward, and now Dante caught out with this on that Zenyatta will go down to What7, and so the defense will hold for Team Dignitas.
They really want to be able to make the full hold on this point here because, of course, I mean, we're more than likely to see them going with a dive comp of their own on this next, on the attacking side, so maybe they can get something going, but still, I mean, you really want to be able to shut this down as early as possible because we're not sure what to expect, especially after what we saw on that last map there on the control point.
As we have Movistar Riders actually coming in, diving onto Linkster, who was on top of that prison. Vainless does answer back as the Transcendence is popped on the side of Movistar Riders, but through that, they will still be able to get the damage down as What7 gets the kill onto Finzi. But once again, it's going to be Logic that gets the kill onto Vainless. Bromos answers right on back as the Primal Rage is popped by Team Dignitas, and that's going to be him just batting around most of the supports for the side of Movistar Riders. And now with a minute left, Neptuno is starting to clean up. Linkster will trade right on back, but it's a 2-for-3 fight on the point, and that's going to allow Team Dignitas to actually secure this defense for now.
Backing them off. I mean, a lot of ults pulled out as well. Most importantly, that sound barrier being pulled out. That's huge for them to be able to make that hold. And despite the fact that Vainless wound up using that nano boost right into the Transcendence, we still saw What7, who was nano boosted, just able to find a quick kill onto Finzi, and that was big for them to be able to turn that one back around and reestablish control, you know, away from that high ground. Linkster now looking for some opportunities to try to shut down Logix, who does have that pulse bomb. They need to find that pick here to try to reduce the impact that he's going to have in what is going to be the last fight here, I think, before the point.
Yeah, this time Logix is not able to connect with that pulse bomb. Toxican still has that self-destruct ready in tow to use to try and force anyone out, and here we go. Self-destruct does come out as Finzi finds a kill with that tactical visor. So now 2-man advantage, make that a 3-man advantage as Logic's putting in work with that Tracer once again. Toxican is finally able to trade on back, but is it going to be enough as Evoke is able to get that sound barrier out right now, try to build buy time for his team, but Swoosh with that Dragon Blade is on the hunt. Fortunately isn't able to get any resets quite yet. He does find one kill with that blade, but the rest of his team is able to follow up and get these kills that should allow them to get this point. Now we do have a pretty big biotic nade, but still with these staggered respawns coming in, unfortunately Team Dignitas were not able to stop them from capping that point.
And Swoosh actually trying to find some more kills for himself as well, just kind of racking up that damage, racking up that ult charge along with it to be able to get some more value out of those Dragon Blades for sure. And honestly, the defensive side definitely needs to kind of be wary of that, I think, and definitely looking to see Linkster try to get himself into a position here where he can go ahead with a nano visor and maybe shut this attack down a little bit here.
Yeah, and they're coming in from over the top. We've got the nano visor coming on out by Linkster, and he's even got Toxic in there to try and keep him alive, but it doesn't matter as Logix, once again, that Tracer putting in so much work. Double kill immediately for him off the back of the pulse bomb and just regular attacking, but now the offense just in full swing here as they're just cleaning up kill after kill. Toxic and demeched and taken out there. Now this payload pushing forward with 30 seconds left, and Finzi close to his technical visor, 70%, but they've also got the Transcendence along with the Primal Rage and another Dragon Blade for Swoosh.
So many options here. He's going to pull the Dragon Blade out, already looking for What7, who is going to get eliminated. He's jumping straight towards the spawn, does find the kill on Bromos inside of that spawn, and it looks as though it is a little bit of a trade back and forth here as the defensive side is going to be able to kind of close things out a little bit. Certainly with that spawn advantage, they are going to be able to get back very quickly.
Yeah, largely off that last team fight, those Links are starting it off on the side of Team Dignitas. As self-destruct does come out by Team Dignitas, and there we go. Transcendence is popped by Movistar Riders. That's going to allow them to get the kill. Once again, Logix with that pulse one gets the kill onto Vaneless and Finzi, taking out Bromas, and now they are focusing down targets one by one by one. Linkster might be the next one in the line, as they are fighting on the payload right now. Toxic dropping really low, and it's going to be Finzi that gets the kill onto Evoke, and they've done it. They have done it. There's only one more member left. It's going to be Valence, but Movistar Riders will be able to complete out the map, but it was in overtime. So nothing quite yet in their time make.
We'll have to see if Dignitas is going to be able to run the distance. I mean, certainly they really didn't have any business getting that far, but just a fantastic performance to be able to hold that one out, despite the fact that it was going back and forth completely on that last attack. And certainly, I mean, Dante was able to pull out that Transcendence once again and keep their team alive. Certainly, I would say Finzi really coming out as well to be able to pull some of those tanks away once he did pull that tactical visor out. Didn't find too many kills inside of it, but just by, you know, pulling Toxicant away on that Diva, that was huge for them to be able to get control of the point once again, establish themselves, and really kind of hold out from there. And then they were able to get that third point. Now it's up to Dignitas to come through with a dive comp of their own and really kind of set a precedent for what to expect for them here on a payload type map. And I mean, going back, it does look as though Movistar Riders certainly has an opportunity here to take a series against a really strong European roster here in Dignitas, but I mean, we'll have to see if they're going to be able to pull this one out. Still, I mean, Dignitas with a pretty big opportunity to not only go the distance, but try to find some time on the clock as well to maybe make this a 4-3 in their favor to take it to a game 3.
Yeah, Movistar Riders here not opting for that triple tank setup that Team Dignitas went for on their initial defense. They're going to be busting out that 2-2-2 swoosh, of course, on that Soldier 76, and then Logix on the Tracer, who's been doing work all series long. And then to round out the meat of that composition, Finzi's going to be on the Zarya along with Kosti on the Reinhardt. On the side of Team Dignitas, it looks like they are going to be committing to a dive along with the Pharmacy. Toxicant, of course, picking up that Pharah for them, and Linkster on the Genji along with Bromas, of course, picking up the Tracer. So we'll see if...
What?
Wow. As immediately as Team Dignitas try and step out the gate, they're able to get a double kill on the side of Movistar Riders. They're definitely surprising Team Dignitas, to say the least.
So we are seeing them getting pretty aggressive here. Already pulled out all the way up in front of a hotel here, which is something that you see over in NA a little bit now, especially from teams like Selfless. But interestingly enough, they have Finzi over on the Zarya as instead of that Roadhog, which helps that frontline pressure and certainly helps win the barrier fight as well as get some picks. But I mean, we'll have to see if that's going to be a big change, as they certainly have seemed like they're adopting the mentality and the play style here on the side of Movistar Riders.
Yeah, it's going to be Swoosh that opens up with the frag onto Evoke, but once again, Toxkin is able to trade on back, but Logix coming up once again for Movistar Riders as kills are getting traded back and forth, but finally it looks like Team Dignitas are starting to pull ahead as Toxkin gets the kill onto Logix, so immediately taking out that DPS threat. It's huge for Team Dignitas.
And Linkster does find the kill on Kolsty as well. That should secure things here as they get 3 back on the point and looking to establish control of the payload and start moving it forward. So already a pretty good pace set here by Dignitas on the first point, who did get slowed off a little bit initially due to Dante
yeah.
and Swoosh there, but as well as Kolsty, actually, they just really good timing on the burst damage on that door to be able to get some early ult charge, but not going to amount to much as they did lose that point.
Yeah, at this point, as we do move on to street space, we do push forward. It's going to be Watt 7 that gets the initial frag onto Kolsty. Toxic tried to use that barrage, but immediately gets taken out by Finzi. But it's largely Watt 7 that's coming up as the Resurrect does come out on the side of Team Dignitas just to try and keep that momentum going. Logic's trying his best to try and delay this payload, but he does finally go down to Evalk here.
And now they're going to be getting back up into a pretty good position. I think, honestly, that Mercy really had a lot to do with the way that they were able to dominate that one. And now everybody's in a good position to try to make the most of this, moving this payload forward with a really good pace set already here, trying to get back into this one. They lost the first map on control point, and things were looking a little hairy there on the defensive side, but certainly their attack has turned things around, I think.
Yeah, Movistar Riders are about to have all of their ultimates at the ready to go for this defense here. Linkster does have that Dragon Blade, but no Nano behind it as they do not have the Ana. Now, Movistar Riders are coming out as Linkster immediately pushes forward. Sound Barrier comes on out to help him out too. Graviton Surge comes out, lands onto 4 members, and it's going to be Logix coming in with the triple kill with that pulse bomb. And pretty good defense, I'd say, coming up from Movistar Riders.
Definitely making good use of that classic combination of Finzi's Graviton Surge into Logix, just pulling out that Pulse Bomb, found a triple kill off of that one. That's going to be huge. I mean, definitely look for them to make the most of that, and now they're going to have to go ahead with this Nano Visor that's coming up here from Swoosh as well as Dante, and they really need to find a lot of kills with it to be able to mount another defense and try to hold them out on this little last turn right before the second objective here, right in front of Jail.
Yeah, Team Dignitas are able to secure the high ground here, but is it going to be enough? There is the Tactical Visor along with the Nano Boost as Toxican just lands the body shot with that Helix Rocket. Logix does try to answer on back, taking out Evoke, but Earthshatter comes out. It only lands onto Linkster. They've got the follow, but it is traded 1-for-1. Bromas comes in, taking out Kosti, and now these Tracers once again putting in work for their, both their teams. Toxican pushes forward with that Soldier 76, getting kill onto Dante. Primal Rage is popped by WhatsApp, and he's just batting around that Zarya Finzi as Swoosh actually dropped down really low. He was purpled, but he finally gets cleaned up, and that might be Team Dignitas securing this next checkpoint.
Ramos definitely performing pretty well so far, and they're going to be able to jump right at this short spawn a little bit here, but it's only the Reinhardt that actually does come out of there, so Bromas looking for some kills, but is not going to find any, of course, and now we are going to be seeing the payload moving now into this final phase of the map. Really, really good time set so far for Dignitas, who, if they finish, you know, if they finish in a pretty good time, they're going to be putting themselves in a position where they might be able to close this one out 4-3.
Logix connects with that pulse bomb, taking out Baneless immediately, and they push forward with that Tactical Visor nano boosted, and they're just going to go ahead and shut down this offense as Evoke finally does answer right on back. But still, they're going to have to wait for the respawns as Logix gets a huge pick onto Bromas there at the end.
We'll see, once again, Dignitas trying to set up, and we see a lot of aggression here, even with the composition that's come out from Movistar Riders, but again, they've kind of adopted that style, I think, a little bit that Selfless has definitely become infamous for over in NA, where they're getting very aggressive here in the front line. Logix is doing a lot to pull away some of the looks that would have typically come over to Swoosh, but he's going to make a switch, actually. He's going to go over to the Roadhog here, and look at this. Finzi actually getting contested a little bit by Logix, Linkster, who is going to be looking for that kill, and we do see the Nano Blade pulling out as well.
Yeah, immediately, with the help of Bromas, gets the kill onto Finzi, gets the reset onto Dante. Pulse Bomb does come out, but this time Logix is not able to connect, and Linkster continue to push forward on this Genji, applying so much pressure on to these tanks. Swoosh is able to get the hook and the connecting kill onto Bromas, but things looking largely in favor of Team Dignitas as Toxic gets the kill onto Kosti. Now they're going to continue to push forward, as Zarya gets another kill onto Neptuno, and they're doing this with a lot of time on the board, 2 minutes left, and you have to remember on Movistar's Riders push, they had to finish the mount out as the Graviton Surge does come out. It connects onto both tanks, but the Sound Barrier will keep them alive along with the projected barriers. Earthshatter Kosti only connects onto one there, unfortunately, on the side of Movistar Riders, so things looking pretty good for Team Dignitas as they land a 3-man, but Logix with a 3-man pulse bomb themselves, but there we go. Follow-up Genji Blade, Dragon Blade comes out, and they're going to complete out the map with 1:43, and because Movistar Riders had completed the map out in overtime, they're not going to have an opportunity actually to attack on point A.
So now Dignitas with an opportunity to tie this one out and move it on to a Game 3, where I imagine Movistar Rider is going to be likely to bring out another control point. For those of you guys at home watching right now, wondering what could potentially come of a Game 3, we've already seen Nepal here. Of course, we're on Hollywood at the moment, so the maps remaining here are going to be Hanamura, Nimbani, and Volskaya Industries. And then if it does wind up going to a tie, if for whatever reason we do see, you know, maybe a control point wound up going into a tie, we will have a tiebreaker as Oasis, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's fairly likely, I mean, that if we do see this map finish out, it might go to a 2CP. I'm not sure which one they would want to go for, but I mean, the fact that it's only one control point map, one King of the Hill map in the map pool here for for Movistar Riders, I'm not sure how confident they are going into a map like Numbani or one of the 2CP. So we'll have to see what is going to become of this next fight here, because obviously that's going to determine what's going to happen, as this could actually draw out as well, which if we then go into a game 3, it will be tied up and we will have that tiebreaker on Oasis.
Movistar Riders not actually changing anything from their defense. They're going to have the exact same setup, that 2-2-2 setup, while this time Team Dignitas trying to get the initial picks with the double snipers. They had the Hanzo along with Linkser on this Widowmaker, but Logix is going to be the first one to get the frag on the side of Movistar Riders, taking out Bromos, and immediately they're going for that selfless defense, just holding up real close to that spawn right now. Valence does have to be careful. He does drop down as Watt7 jumps in with that Winston, but Valence will be able to keep him alive. Toxican on that far gets the kill onto Swoosh, and this might be the window of opportunity that Team Dignitas are looking for.
Yeah, that kind of thing where you just lose out one person like that, that's going to be huge for them. And Toxican coming alive with yet another pick here is going to be able to find Finzi as well, and Dignitas look poised to take this one.
Yeah, neither team actually able to mount a .8 defense so far, and Hollywood, it seems like, as one tick has already gone over in favor of Team Dignitas, and Toxican once again on this far, going largely uncontested. Will take out Swoosh once again. Pulse Bomb comes out from Logix, but he's not going to connect this time, and it will be Team Dignitas tying up this series 1-1, and we're going to a map number 3.
Really, really good performance there from Toxican at the end. And, I mean, honestly, really, like you said, kind of largely uncontested. We didn't see Finzi, or not Finzi, I believe it was Swoosh actually on the Soldier, with really kind of too many opportunities actually to try to deal with him. I mean, Toxican able to get that opening pick pretty early on. That definitely set them up very well to go forward with it. And then, of course, the second one right on the point, I think it was onto Dante, and then onto Finzi. I mean, really, just a great performance. And Bromos, I mean, I don't think he got any credit, really, but here it is, the play of the game. That same exact moment that we were talking about, and it's him getting the play of the game here, putting that damage into Swoosh at the end, who was trying to contest a little bit with Toxican at the end, but they are able to close that one out. And now moving on to map 3, it is going to be Movistar Riders with an opportunity to pick the map as well as the side here. And kind of curious, like I said, we talked a little bit before about, you know, what could potentially come out. I mean, the only 3 maps that we have, of course, are going to be Hanamura, Numbani, as well as Volskaya that they have to pick from. I mean, given what happened on Hollywood, I mean, certainly I think Dignitas looked a lot better there than they did on King of the Hill. So perhaps it's going to be a 2CP coming out from Movistar Riders, but which one, and if that's even going to be the case, because I haven't seen either of these 2 teams on it, at least in recent memory. So I'm not sure what exactly to expect here. I mean, I think Volskaya would probably be preferred over Hanamura, but I don't know if they want to go to Numbani at all because of what just happened on Hollywood. Certainly there's some differences in the geometry a little bit, but it's certainly the closest map to Hollywood in the pool, I would say. And, you know, if you just lost that map, I'm not sure if I would just try to, you know, muster up the courage to go into something very similar, especially if you have guys on Dignitas really kind of performing quite well with Soldier and everything. And we are going to be seeing Volskaya come out, and it is going to be Movistar on the attack side to start things off. So they do wind up going to the Volskaya Industries, like I was mentioning. But again, this is one of those maps where, I don't know, it could go either way really here. And given the map pool, I think it's kind of created an interesting scenario between these 2 teams because, again, I think Dignitas is a little bit stronger of a team, but the map pool starting out on Nepal, you know, Movistar Rider is able to take that one, and then moving on into having to basically force a pick out from 2CP, given that Dignitas won the second map. It's going to create an interesting storyline, I think, for these 2 teams, as Dignitas more than likely should have pulled away with either a 2-0 or 2-1, and might still, but Movistar Riders with a great opportunity here to take advantage of the fact that this is going to go into a map that I don't think too many teams are really, really that strong or comfortable on.
Yeah, it's largely Korea and most of the other like Asian teams that are more practiced on these 2CP maps. Initially on the onset of Overwatch esports, most teams were, you know, banning out 2CP every opportunity they got. If you ever looked at the drafts on the Map Drafts website, it was always Volskaya, Hanamura, and why am I blanking on the third one? Why am I blanking on Anubis? Right. Those were like immediately the first three brands that would come out during map drafts. So most teams avoided playing these. Um, but I think with the newer up and coming teams, they realize that, hey, the entirety of the map pool is in play at this point. Drafts are becoming less and less a thing of the more and more a thing of the past. And so you have to be prepared for these 2CP maps as we are finally getting things underway. So our third deciding map here between Movistar Riders and Team Dignitas, it is going to be Volskaya. Movistar Riders starting on the offensive.
So now we'll get an idea of what's going to become of this map here. I mean, certainly if Movistar Riders come out and just really set a strong pace on the first point and then get it to the second point with, you know, a lot of ult charges to try to just rush in, they might be able to really kind of do a lot of damage here to the, I guess the egos a little bit of Dignitas. Not that they're like an egocentric team, but just a little bit damaging, I think, if they're going to be able to pull something like that off. But obviously a lot... That's a lot to kind of expect from any team, especially going up against Dignitas, but we'll have to see. I mean, certainly anything can happen here on this particular map. Again, just want to reiterate that there haven't been too many tournaments in EU, so most of what's been going on has been scrims in this particular region, so we don't really know all too much of what to expect on this particular map, as even the tournaments that we've been seeing in the past haven't really kind of put out these 2CPs all too much. They don't typically come out in drafts, and with this tournament being an official Blizzard tournament, we don't have the draft. It is going to be a map pool, which so these kind of maps do actually show up in the pools, and quite often actually.
Yeah, and so what we definitely can expect coming up from Movistar Riders, though, is this dive-heavy composition, which they do tend to favor. It seems like they did particularly well on Nepal with it, not quite as well on Hollywood, but I think it was just because of the pressure that Team Dignitas were able to put on with their own dive. As the dive composition will be coming out from Movistar Riders. On the defense, though, Toxican picking up that Diva, I think, was a huge contributing factor to their win on Hollywood there. Now, as it looks like Movistar Riders want to go for that high ground there, try and contest and play the Reinhardt shield game.
We will see Toxican on this Diva, just preventing a lot of the damage that's going into the shield. And Winston already jumping in here and trying to push them off of this high ground. Not going to be able to accomplish that just yet, as Logic's actually getting taken down pretty low, forced to recall away. And I believe it was actually Bromas who found a lot of that damage there initially. And now we're seeing this just turning to a little bit of a brawl, as Discord's going out as well from Dante. And Kolsty finding that mech kill on Toxican.
Yeah, but right now, Finzi still has that high ground advantage with that Soldier 76, getting some free damage off. One tick already going in favor of Movistar Riders here. They might get a second soon, as Logix is trying his best to take down the supports in the back line. Pulse Bomb does come out as Linkster gets the kill onto Kosi, but it's going to be Neptuno that cleans up What 7 there, who was the recipient of that Pulse Bomb. But now Swoosh starting to get the dash resets, putting in a lot of damage along with Logix, and that's going to be a quick point A for Movistar Riders.
We talked about before, if they're able to really set a good pace on this first point and come away with basically all of their ultimates coming up, then they're going to be able to really kind of jump in on the second point and take advantage of what they've been able to accomplish so far. Look at this. I mean, Neptuno pretty close to having a sound barrier there. Dante with the support ult of his own in the form of Transcendence, and a lot of offensive options here if you're Movistar Riders. Certainly, I mean, if they're able to find an opening pick here to start things off, I think they should be able to close this one out.
Oh man, they immediately dive into the back line with that Dragon Blade. They are able to get the kill onto Vaneless, and that signals the sound barriers coming up from both sides. Transcendence popped by Dante. No kills quite yet until Logis lands that Pulse Bomb once again onto What 7, and that's like 2 within a minute as Finzi gets the D-Mech onto Diva there, and gonna go ahead and follow up on that own kill there. Now he does pop that Tactical Visor, taking out 2 with it, and this just might be Movistar Riders taking the map in 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Man, incredibly fast-paced set by Movistar Riders there, and certainly looking a lot more like their form that we saw them having on King of the Hill. Dignitas with an opportunity here to turn things around a little bit. Certainly not looking good for them defensively, as they basically just crumbled under the pressure there after that first point was lost. Certainly a little bit of an advantage in terms of the ult economy to Movistar Riders that kind of set that one up a little bit, but man, I mean, what an upset this is looking like it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah, the target selection coming out from Movistar Riders has been top notch. What Seven continually applying pressure. Having a pressure applied to him by Logix. I mean, Logix landed 2 pulse bomb within the span of a minute onto him, and at that point, it's just largely demoralizing, I would say, as a tank player when your team just can't keep you alive, and it's not like for lack of trying on the side of Team Dignitas, but once again, Logix just applies so much pressure with that Tracer by himself.
We will see the dive come out once again from Dignitas. Toxican over on the Pharah. They did very well on their attacking side of Hollywood, and we saw them in a kind of, I wouldn't say similar situation by any means, as they definitely looked better on defense over on Hollywood, as they were able to push it into overtime. But, you know, certainly we weren't sure of what to expect, and they definitely did a lot better on their attacking side than they did their defense. I mean, if you're a Dignitas fan right now, you're certainly hoping that that's going to be replicated here on Volskaya if they want a chance to really kind of hold things down and keep their name in the hat at the moment for this particular series. But 550 is a very, very tough time to beat, and it is going to be a tough time to beat for them as well. But as long as they finish out, they might be able to make an incredible hold here on that 3rd point. But, I mean, still, they have to be able to get both points.
All right, and now we are going on to Team Dignitas' attack. They do have that triple dive along with the pharmacy. No kills coming out quite yet, as right now Team Dignitas looking a little indecisive in which way they want to approach this. They might actually go for a swap off. Yeah, Toxian is going to go ahead and pick up the Soldier 76, and Baneless switching off to that Ana now, once they've got sight of that composition coming out from Movistar Riders.
We will see Neptuno just jumping in the back. Lynx are going to get eliminated here, so already a kill coming out for Movistar Riders as they trade. Neptuno going to be dropping as well, and Colty should be taken down here, but actually does somehow stay alive, and we are seeing Finzi just trying to come over and contest that high ground a little bit. Definitely looking like Movistar Riders should be able to hold out.
Yeah, a bit uncharacteristic of their dive coming out on the side of Team Dignitas there. Lynx are going in a little bit too ham, way too early on without the support of the rest of this team. And right now they're kind of trickling in one by one. They've got to actually pull back and try to establish a full push together. But now we do have the backliner Bromos going down to Dante there, and the rest of Team Dignitas now getting cleaned up.
If Dignitas actually get held here, I mean, they can't give too much away. I mean, obviously, if you're Dignitas, you really want to be able to lock this first point down quickly, but you don't really have too much time. I mean, 2:30 on the clock, and pretty soon you're going to be giving away a lot of ult charge. You're going to be giving away a lot of options to the defense, and it's going to be harder and harder as time progresses to actually unlock this first objective for yourself.
All right, so Team Dignitas pushing in again for their second attack, but it's looking a little spread out here as Linkter and now What7 are into the backline, but Logix gets that Nano Visor out, and he picks up 2 kills so far as Toxian finally trades on back, but that's a 3-for-1 trade at this point as Logitech makes that a 4th, and basically by this point, by this time on Movistar Riders push, they had already won the map. So right now, things looking really good for Movistar Riders.
And on the other side, really grim for Dignitas, who, again, like I said, the longer this goes on, the harder it is for them to kind of get everything gathered up. They're going to have to generate a lot of ults, just hold on to everything, and then try to make a final push. But at that point, I mean, if Movistar plays this smart, they're going to be able to have some defensive options. I mean, certainly Neptuno getting pretty close to that sound barrier. That's going to be big for them. We do see the Dragon Blade coming out there. And that is from Swoosh, actually, who does get eliminated as Vaneless able to find that kill, and now Lynx are getting pressured as well as Logix falls off the map!
Yeah, and we have the Sound Barrier coming out along with the Dragon Blade on the side of Team Dignitas, and this is the window of opportunity they were looking for as Lynx is able to pick up the double kill with those resets. Vinzy's going to be forced out of his mech there and immediately gets cleaned up. That's going to be Lynxer getting a 3rd kill. So after 3 minutes, they are finally able to secure point A, but still, it's point B, which is going to be the real point of contention.
Now we do see as well, I mean, Neptuno with that Sound Barrier, Colsty with that option of the Primal Rage to try to contest a little bit longer, also find some extra little spacing. We will see them going ahead and trying to make the most of it here on the attacking side first here for Dignitas. Colsty getting pressured a little bit out by Toxican, but we are going to be seeing actually Finzi come over to kind of pressure him a little bit. They're still getting into position. Dante already with the pick on the defensive side.
Yeah, now we do have the Primal Rage getting popped on the side of Movistar Riders. There is going to be Colsey pushing back his counterpart. The Winston is Linkser, excuse me, is able to get the kill onto Logix. Now he does get cleaned up by Swoosh, his Genji counterpart, and that's going to be the defense holding it down for the time being at least. But 4 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock for Team Dignitas, and they're building up a huge ultimate bank here.
They want to be able to engage with, a lot of these here, but certainly, again, Neptuno holding onto that sound barrier, not forced to use that there in that last fight. That's going to be big for them as they're hoping to hold out against an onslaught of ultimates that have been stacking up here. I mean, 5 ultimates, 3 of which are very, very aggressive here. We're gonna have to see if, Bromas is gonna be able to find anything with this pulse bomb to kind of open things up, and then maybe that nano visor trying to make a play as well.
Alright, he is going to be forced off as we do have the technical visor getting popped by Toxic, along with the Dragon Blade. They continue to push forward, but it's going to be Logix that finds a triple kill off of it, and they're going to be able to put a stop to this offense so quickly.
Man, they hold out very well, pulling out everything but Bromas' pulse bomb, which really isn't that big of a deal because he's just able to generate that pretty easily. I think probably in this particular matchup, the easiest ultimate to try to generate up. But we will see Movistar Riders holding on nonetheless, and that's going to be a big hold for them as now they have a lot of options still. Swoosh actually still with that Dragon Blade to be able to slice them up, and without anything like a Graviton to gather up anybody on Dignitas' side, they're not really going to be able to do much until they get those ultimates back and are able to do something big with them. And we do see Toxican actually switching over to the D.Va as well, just to kind of contend with Logix, who has definitely been showing up today in these matches.
Alright, Linkser is in the backline along with Bromas as the pulse bomb does connect onto Neptuno, and now both supports down on the side of Movistar Riders. This might be the opportunity that Team Dignitas were looking for as Swoosh comes in with the Dragon Blade, though gets the kill onto Bromas. Primal Rage does come out from Kosi, and he's going to be able to delay as the respawn start coming in on the side of Movistar Riders, and Swoosh getting that kill onto Vaneless. That might be the stop to this offense here as Neptuno even comes in, has switched off to that Sombra. But I imagine he's going to go back to spawn and switch off again.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be the case as well. He is going to be swapping off. So it's a little unfortunate that they lost the ult charge there. I'm not sure if he actually wound up using it at the end on that sound barrier, but they are going to be at 0% starting from scratch a little bit. But they able to hold on, so that does obviously mean a lot. Now they're going to have really only Logix kind of close to anything, and they are going to have to more than likely deal with not only Linkser pulling out the Dragon Blade, but also just a couple of support options as well. They're going to come out midway through, and Logix already with the pick is going to be big. Dignitas should be able to make the play here for this point.
Yeah. Dragon Blade comes out from Linkser and is immediately onto Dante as they're going to go ahead and use that offensive sound barrier, continue to push forward. Toxin finds the kill onto Finzi, and there we go. Linkser taking out both supports. He's going to find a third, taking out Colsey, but we do have the self-destruct coming out. It's not going to quite connect there. It's going to be what, 7 with that Winston. It cleans up Logix, and now they have all their members on the point here. Try and stop all these defenders trickling in one by one. To what 7 with that Primal Rage is going to try and bat back the defenders. Finzi trying his best to stay on the point, but after 7 minutes, Team Dignitas are finally able to get point B there. 1 minute and 3 seconds left in their time bank, but I believe 550 is what Movistar Riders are working with.
550, a lot of time, especially considering their performance the first time around on this point. And we will see things switching up here as Movistar. Actually, I think it is going to be. It is going to be. Sorry, it is going to be Dignitas' attack once again here, as they do have the less time in the bank. But we're seeing them actually going over to a traditional dive once again here. More than likely, we're going to be seeing Evokia actually going over to the Lucio as well, and things kind of just sticking to tradition, I think, a little bit for Dignitas, as they're hoping to get this first point at the very least. If they're not able to accomplish anything in this next minute, 3 seconds, I mean, things will be in a very, very dire state for them, as 550 is just so much time to get one of these points here, or that first point there on Volskaya, especially considering what we saw the first time around from Movistar Riders. And I'm definitely looking to see if Dignitas are going to be able to establish themselves and really kind of jump up on some of this high ground, really contest with Logix and especially guys like Dante as well, to be able to try to shut those guys down. Otherwise, you're just going to be giving too much space and too much time for those guys to make plays, as well as Swoosh to kind of come in and find those kills on the back line himself. Guys like Evokia and actually Vaneless as well. And if you lose those in the fight, you're going to be not only losing the fight, but also losing out on precious, precious time as you don't have too much to start with.
All right, so Team Dignitas with 50 seconds left on the clock now as they're pushing on to point A. They have to be careful. Bromos trying to find the kill onto Swoosh, but Swoosh will be able to immediately fall on back. Now here comes the dive from Team Dignitas. They're immediately onto the back line, but Linkster goes down once again, and that's going to be Volk also too far up. We'll go down to that Helix rocket. Now they are onto point A, Toxic and Baneless right now, but they are about to get contested by Finzi. They're going to have to back out to try and get one more opportunity to attack.
But still, so much given away to Movistar Riders, as not only were they able to get those last couple of kills, that they also are able to now have a lot of time to set themselves back up in position. Look at where Dante's at up here, where he's just kind of up with Logix once again. We saw the Genji come out from Linkster, and he was just contested so early by Colsey, who jumped right on top of him, was on him the entire time, and really, Linkster wasn't able to do his job of trying to contest the backline at all.
Oh, jump is missed by What7 there, so Toxic now they're starting to get focused down as Tactical Visor is bought by Logix, gets the first kill onto Toxic, and now he's on to the Lucio there as the Dragon Blade does come out, the Nano Blade comes out for Swoosh, and that's going to be a cleanup coming out on the side of Movistar Riders. And it's looking like it's all down to Bromos to try and keep this alive, as it is in overtime, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get this point. So now they have to hold on to point A for nearly 6 minutes on the side of Team Dignitas.
6 minutes. That is going to be so difficult for them, and they haven't looked that stellar on defense, certainly not on this map. And, you know, 6 minutes is a lot of time. I mean, I expect that we're going to be seeing Finzi on the Soldier here. That is going to be the case, and we do as well see just the full dive coming out with the Zenyatta involved as well. And more than likely, Dignitas going to be setting up in probably the same position that we saw them last time. But I think the big thing here is that we're going to be seeing some potential swap-offs, maybe. I mean, Linkster at the moment kind of toying with the Mei, but hasn't really solidified that quite yet. Going over to the Tracer instead, and maybe trying to deal a little bit here with the backline in a different fashion than the Genji that we're used to seeing for him actually pulling out. But I don't know, I mean, if Discords are able to be consistent, if Finzi and Dante have all the spacing in the world to kind of do whatever they want, which they were able to do more than pretty much most of the time on defense, then we're going to be seeing that same kind of attack happen from Movistar Riders, where they're going to be able to just push in eventually and just slowly take their picks, find the kills on the back line. People like Vaneless are just going to be under tremendous pressure throughout, and Colsey was doing a fantastic job of just shutting down the Genji as well in defense, and doesn't have the opportunity to do that here as Linkster has made the swap, but really we're going to be able to see him try to make as much space as possible for those two guys to really kind of make the plays for the team.
All right, so now 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock for Movistar Riders to close out this series. Remember, it is tied up 1-1 currently between these two teams, but 5 minutes 30 seconds now, as it looks like they are actually starting to wrap around from the back stairs, and dive is coming out from Movistar Riders. They're on to the back line as the rest of Team Dignitas have to retreat into Mega Health Pack Room. It's going to be Toxic that gets the first kill onto Dante, and that's a really big pick-off, especially with this dive composition. They want those Orb of Discords. Toxic finding a second kill before Linkster finally gets traded on back, but still, that's a 2-for-1, and this might actually buy a window of opportunity for Movistar Riders to get their respawns and try to attack in with the man advantage.
Yeah, they really want to, I mean, Dignitas really wants to contest Finzi and Dante. As I said before, that's the most important thing for them here, as Finzi and Dante try to get over to that other side to try to get high ground. They want to be able to send their flankers and guys like Toxican over there to really kind of deal with them, but Finzi already with that kill onto Toxican, that's huge for them. And now we're going to be seeing Swoosh just jumping right onto the Reinhardt as well, and they find that kill, and it looks as though Movistar Riders is making a play for the point.
Yeah, I mean, they still have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, and it's gonna be Movistar Riders securing this series, securing Volskaya 3-2 in a dominant fashion. And yeah, already we're seeing upsets coming out from Group B here in the EU play.
And this is a familiar sign. I mean, this is something that we saw as well on Group A as well. I mean, we saw, going back to that, Ninjas of Pajamas taken out by Laser Kittens in that opening round, and then Ninjas of Pajamas still able to make a play and turn things back around. But I don't think the same thing's going to happen. I don't see Dignitas being able to contest Misfits to be able to put themselves in a 4-1 situation after losing the first round and a little bit of an upset. So, I mean, certainly they're going to be looking to try to hold out for second at the moment. But Movistar Riders certainly putting themselves in a great position to definitely make a play for
Not
that themselves.
confirmed. Yeah, Movistar Riders looked phenomenal in this series. A little bit of a hiccup. They're on Hollywood, but they brought it right on back here on Volskaya. So congratulations, guys, taking your first win in this round robin format of Group B of the Overwatch PIT Championships. So yeah, looking like they really do want to join the 4 teams that had actually secured their spot in the playoffs last week. That was Ninjas in Pajamas, E United, Vivi's Adventure, and Laser Kittens. But yeah, this is just day 1 of Group B here. So our next matchup, it should be Misfits facing off against Singularity Ninjas for our next match. As soon as we get them into the lobby and everything, we will be able to get this underway. But yeah, what did you think of the match, dude?
Well, I mean, I think it was a little unexpected, a little bit, for Dignitas to be losing out to Movistar Riders there, and on top of that, just in the fashion that they lost too. I mean, there was just a lot of time there for Movistar to work with in that final map. I mean, Hollywood was actually kind of close. I mean, it wasn't. I think Dignitas's performance on Hollywood is what I expected from them throughout. But to lose on that control point there, and then to lose as well onto Volskaya in a pretty convincing fashion, especially after that first point, or that first attack from Movistar, I don't know exactly what to anticipate from either of those two teams now, given their performances in that first match. But moving on to the second game, which is, like you said, going to be Misfits versus Singularity, I think that will go more according to what people anticipate. I think Misfits, coming off of Apex and being in Korea for such a long time and being able to scrim with them, I mean, we haven't seen them in EU for quite a long time. Really not too many public performances at all since that 3-way trade actually happened. And I'm looking to see what they're going to be able to do here in this particular tournament, because of course this is really going to be everything all out of the table for the EU region, for some of these teams to kind of make a name for themselves in terms of where they stand amongst the rest in the EU region, as teams have been in and out of different, some going over to NA. I think Dignitas actually just played Gale Force just about a month ago and enter the arena, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, some of these guys have been coming over to NA, some of them have been going over to Korea, because there just hasn't been too much going on in EU. But I still think, going into this next match of Misfits versus Singularity, Misfits should be able to close this one out. Should be pretty easy, should be pretty straightforward. But definitely, guys, make sure you guys hang on, because we're going to be going into that in just a couple of minutes here. It's really not going to be too much time at all. Do not pay attention to the time, as it is set to 1930 CST. That is just kind of like a guideline set for everybody, but it is going to be in just a couple minutes here. Definitely stay tuned, because that's coming your way right after this.